What's good? It's Woog. In this series, we're going to hit the individual categories, predict winners, pick our winners, while discussing the Grammys, its history, and its politics as we near the date of the ceremony. Best Rap Song is the Songwriters Award given to all of the writers listed on the song. Sometimes this just includes the lead artist. If there's a feature and that featured artist had a hand in writing, then they're awarded as well. Sometimes additional writers, musicians, and the producer can be included in the songwriting credits as well. The Best Rap Song category is still pretty new, debuting in 2004 with Eminem's Lose Yourself winning its first award. Kanye West has won this award 5 times, 6 if you count his feature on Jay-Z's Run This Town. Kendrick Lamar has won 3 times, which account for 3 out of the last 4 awards in this category. Yeah, Kendrick's been on a roll. One thing that's a bit of a contradiction with the Grammys, and you'll hear me repeat this, is that its official statement says that these are awarded by the Recording Academy, a group of major artists, musicians, producers, engineers, and others. These awards are given to honor artistic achievement, technical proficiency, and overall excellence in the recording industry without regard to sales and chart position. This is what the statement reads, but the winners and nominees are often also among the highest in sales and some of the biggest chart toppers. So I don't think that saying without regard to sales and chart position would be accurate. They should modify that to some regard, where the nominees and winners are chosen based on a mix of sales, chart position, and artistic achievement, technical proficiency, and overall excellence. That would probably be closer to the truth. Let's get into it. God's Plan by Drake became something bigger than just a song. The way that the song was suddenly rolled out on a 2-song EP called Scary Hours, and then a half a year later on the album Scorpion, it was accompanied by a very heartwarming music video that became one of the biggest of the year. It went viral, featuring Drake going around Miami, giving away nearly $1 million to individuals and institutions, and seeming to have some very candid, tear-jerking moments with the different people that he was bumping into and handing the money to. The video became as big as the song. Then the song continued to dominate airwaves and playlists throughout 2018. God's Plan became the most consumed song of 2018 in any genre, according to the research from BuzzAngle Music. This is total consumption, combining sales and streams. God's Plan was also #1 in total streams and #2 in sales. This is a vintage Drake song, where his vocal is more sung than rapped. Think Hotline Bling. Out of Drake's multiple musical styles, this is the one that continues to score him the most commercial success. He's like a unicorn of rap when it comes to mixing the styles. Childish Gambino and others are great, but Drake's track record is second to none, and God's Plan just lengthens and strengthens that track record. And in a career full of hits, God's Plan is already his biggest hit to date. It's 8 times platinum. Hotline Bling and One Dance are 7 times. Hold On, We're Coming Home, and Forever are 6 times platinum, and Starting from the Bottom and The Motto, that's YOLO, were 5 times platinum. Each platinum equals 1 million sales, or sales equivalent. Now, on Billboard's Hot 100, Hotline Bling peaked at #2. One Dance was actually his first #1 hit, so God's Plan was Drake's second #1 hit when it was released. Kind of a surprise considering Drake's been a major artist since 2008, and this song dropped 10 years later. He's actually had another 2 #1 hits after God's Plan from the same Scorpion album, Nice for What and In My Feelings. That's the Kiki song. So think about that. In his first 10 years, he had 1 #1 hit. In his past year alone, had another 3. Go figure. This whole song just gets lodged into your head. Even the Cardo and Boy Wonder produced beat, which creates this anticipatory vibe, like something's about to happen, and not in an overly in-your-face and dramatic way. This beat actually reminded me of a Drake single from his second major album, Take Care, called Headlines. That's the one with the chorus, they know, they know, they know. Now, a lot's happened in his career since then. That was like 2011, so you might not even remember that lead single to his most critically acclaimed album. Go back and listen to Headlines and see if you agree with the similarity beat-wise. God's Plan's lyrics are pretty introspective. They're cryptic, which is a trademark of this one of his several songwriting styles. It's not very straightforward, and the messages might not appear clear as he's discussing his fate and his history. It's a little eerie, not as dark as some of his songs, but even when Drake sounds celebratory, it's moody. It's interesting that the public has taken so well to his reflective yet abrasive and cold outlook. It's different from what had become the rap standard over the years. But nowadays, rap is largely pop, and pop is rap. So Drake is obviously a rap and pop artist, and he's got to be among the biggest, if not the biggest, of the past decade. King's Dead, a collaborative track from the Kendrick Lamar curated Black Panther soundtrack, Features Kendrick Lamar, Future, James Blake, and Kendrick's TDE label mate and fellow Black Hippie crew member, veteran rapper J-Rock, who you'll see featured again in this Best Rap Song category. King's Dead is also nominated for Best Rap Performance this year. When I first listened to the Black Panther soundtrack, I heard All the Stars, that Kendrick Lamar and SZA song, but didn't know what else to expect, nor did I know which songs they try to elevate as the singles. But I do remember this song standing out on an already solid project. It appears just after the halfway mark of the album, track 9 out of 14. And this song is far from a typical rap single, man. It has an arrangement that involves a couple of beat change-ups, like another song you'll see nominated in this category. This song has a couple of parts to it, and these beats by Mike Willmated and Teddy Walton are equally intense. Kendrick opens up the track with what could be considered the hook, which Future will repeat later in the future, though a different variation of the hook. But J-Rock delivers the first actual verse, followed by Future, and hearing these two on this song allows you to appreciate both of their very distinct vocal deliveries. J-Rock with his very bold, aggressive, action-packed, I will beat your ass type of vocal, and Future's raspy, psychedelic, and hoarse vocal. And very little auto-tune here. They both come off, first with Jay's verse, and then with Future's chorus-verse combo. James Blake dips in with the vocal section just before the beat switches up to an even more frantic sound, where Kendrick comes in with his red light, green light, red light, green light, red light, green light, red light, green light, and then just spazzes on the verse. It's just a non-stop, manic train of thought. This song carries a very nocturnal sound. Without the lyrics being explicitly violent, the song sounds violent because of the urgency of Kendrick's voice and J-Rock's and so forth, and because of this two-beat medley. This song peaked at number 21 on the Billboard Hot 100, so unlike Drake's God's Plan, which was a number 1, as are others in this category, King's Dead wasn't really marketed as a single. It had a music video, but it didn't have the same push that other singles get, nor does the song sound like it's striving to meet any pop standard. With that said, number 21 is pretty high for a song that's basically a good album track and not a pop single. That just goes to show how impactful the song sounded to those who did hear it. Next up is the lyrical tour de force that is Eminem's Lucky You featuring Joyner Lucas. By the way, what a choice in feature, you know? It's not too common that an artist of Eminem's stature reaches out to essentially an underground rapper to collab on a song on his album. And Joyner's not even on Shady or Aftermath or even Interscope. He's on Atlantic, so props on that selection. I also expect some big things from Joyner in 2019. He's one of the most creative and talented rappers in the game. Lucky You has two parts, the Joyner Lucas part and the Eminem part. These parts mirror each other's patterns and build-ups, where they build up in a pre-verse chorus, starting slower, Joyner sounding a little like Big Sean actually, and the chorus builds and is mind-blowingly lyrical, which is unconventional for a pop rap chorus. But this is Eminem we're talking about. So it builds and builds, then the rapper shouts, Lucky You in Joyner's part and Lucky Me in Eminem's. Then they launch into their insanely intricate and blazing fast verses in the respective sections of the song. And one thing that I notice about Eminem's collabs is that it usually comes last, which can be advantageous because you make the lasting impression, but it can also leave you vulnerable when you're collabing with Jay-Z and Renegade, or with Lil Wayne on No Love and Drop This World, or with Drake, Kanye, and Lil Wayne on Forever, or in this case with Joyner Lucas. Eminem had to know that Joyner would blaze this track, and that really puts pressure on M to have to up the ante to even compete on the track. And that really is what much of this style of rap is, right? It's competition rap compared to, say, trap rap. This is a which one of us could get more absurdly sensational with our words. And that's the sport that Eminem excels in, as does Joyner Lucas. Yes, they could both also create wonderful concept art like Eminem's Stan or Joyner's I'm Not Racist, but at their core, they belong in a cypher, a circle of other MCs, each taking their turn to shine and possibly compete or battle with another MC. So Joyner just totally annihilates the first half of the song to where you can't help but wonder, can the 45-year-old legend keep up with this pace? And then Eminem somehow pulls off an even more impressive and explosive verse. So smart with the rhymes and the rhymes within the rhymes. And then his acrobatic piecing together of the syllables while saying some of the funniest or sharpest things. And to hear how the two sections of the song parallel one another, where they start off in first gear, then switch to second, before finally flying full speed ahead with their performances, which, and let me know if you disagree, make Kendrick Lamar's King's Dead performance sound a little predictable word-wise. Not so much in vocal stylings, because Kendrick Lamar's animation, switching character voices, and all of that, second to none. But just lyrically, and in that style that I described, and I get that Kendrick might not be going for what they're going for in Lucky You, but I don't know if Kendrick's third and fourth gear, speed-wise, and with the cleverness of the content, what's being said, can keep up with these guys. And again, not just speed-wise, but bar for bar, and the depth of the lyricism and thought in those bars as it pertains to this brand of competitive rap, Lucky You is just on another level. And this is something that only a select few can really excel in to this degree. There are those who rap fast, and there are those who rap smart. There aren't too many that could do both like this. Now, Lucky You is technically Eminem's third single from his spontaneously released Kamikaze album, although he also dropped Kill Shot, his diss track of Machine Gun Kelly, which was released a few weeks after Kamikaze dropped and is not featured on the album, and it actually charted higher than all three of Eminem's singles from Kamikaze. Kill Shot hit number 3, Lucky You peaked at number 6, which, like King's Dead hitting number 21, is very high for a song that doesn't sound like a rap single and doesn't sound like a typical modern radio song. It's way too highbrow and doesn't have many top 40 qualities. Of course, Eminem is one of the biggest selling artists in music history, so although he's well past his popularity prime, he outsells almost everyone in music when he releases albums. The amazing part, however, is that even at 45, he could still pull off exceptional songs that can sell extremely well while also knocking the listener's socks off. Lucky You is one of those songs. Next is the biggest single off Travis Scott's Astroworld album, Sicko Mode, featuring Drake in yet another Drizzy appearance at this year's Grammys. Sicko Mode is also nominated in the Best Rap Performance category, and the album that is featured on, Travis Scott's phenomenal Astroworld, is nominated for Best Rap Album this year. This song is a 3-part medley, and while this wasn't one of my favorite songs on the album, its success and impact are undeniable. This had all types of radio play. People were coming away from the acclaimed album remarking on how dope this song was in particular. After Drake's sung vocal on the opening, he starts rapping his verse that cuts out after only 2 bars, and then the beat switches. I was thinking, wait, why'd they switch from that? That beat that Drake was starting to rap on was sick. He returns in the song with the rap verse, but to a different beat, a really good, menacing beat. Now, between those 2 Drake appearances, there's the second of the song's 3 parts, where Travis Scott performs the verse that he's been performing at the award shows and SNL. This song is as much a production masterpiece as it is a well-executed vocal performance from Scott and Drake. Hell of a production job by the ensemble cast of Hit Boy, OZ, Tay Keith, Q Beats, Roger Shahayed, and the longtime Kanye West go-to guy, Mike Dean. This song, like the album that it's on, is just so sonically tight and experimental and psychedelic. Every contribution and guest appearance fits right into the project. On Sicko Mode, one of rap's biggest emerging voices, Sway Lee of Ray Shremmer, also pops up for a quick vocal piece before going into one of the song's other transitions. It had huge commercial success, hitting number 1 on Billboard's Hot 100, and according to BuzzAngle Music Studies, was the 11th most consumed song of 2018. Consumption, by the way, combines total sales and streams. Another nominee in this category, Drake's God's Plan, was number 1. Travis Scott's reputation has been growing over the years with his albums and his mixtapes. His relationship and newborn baby with Kylie Jenner gave him even more exposure. His concerts have truly become a thing of legend, and his status has now grown even more with Astroworld, and this Drake collab on Sicko Mode really put everything over the top. In 2018, Scott went from star to superstar, and we'll be seeing more of him during this year's Super Bowl halftime performance, along with Maroon 5 and Big Boy from Outkast. Sicko Mode has a real shot to win this award. J-Rock is our final nominee with Win. By the way, what a ride for J-Rock, who's been dropping his music since 2006 and just had, by far, his biggest year commercially in 2018. This is his second nomination in this category, also nominated with King's Dead, the collaboration with Future, James Blake, the electronic indie and R&B artist, and his fellow TDE label mate and fellow Black Hippie crew member, Kendrick Lamar from the Black Panther soundtrack. Big shout out to J-Rock for his breakthrough 2018, where he's finally getting the mainstream exposure he's long deserved. Win is a celebratory song, like I'm All the Way Up, the collab with Fat Joe, Remy Ma, French Montana, and Infrared from 2016, or All I Do Is Win, with DJ Khaled, T-Pain, Rick Ross, Ludacris, and Snoop Dogg from 2010, Win was featured on J-Rock's latest album, Redemption, and is the only song out of these nominees not to chart on Billboard's Hot 100. With that said, he's performed the song on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, on the BET Awards, and at some of the world's biggest music festivals. He even accompanied heavyweight champion boxer Deontay Wilder into the ring, performing this song for Wilder's showdown versus Tyson Fury. J-Rock started dropping mixtapes in 2006, then dropped his first album in 2011 on Top Dog Entertainment, TDE, and legendary underground rapper Tech Nine's Strange Music label. He's also a part of the crew Black Hippie, along with Kendrick Lamar, Ab-Soul, and Schoolboy Q. You've probably heard him before, but didn't know who you were listening to during one of his several standout features. You might have at least heard this very straightforward, aggressive, and bold-sounding MC on the final verse of Kendrick Lamar's Money Trees from his Good Kid, Mad City album. Win isn't one of my favorite J-Rock tracks. He's got too many solid album and mixtape cuts over the years. Maybe I'm just not into overly celebratory songs, or at least songs that say win that many times in the chorus. This is, however, his biggest hit to date, by far. Who do I think should win? Who do I think will win? Even though we have a Kendrick Lamar collab here, and Kendrick usually wins in the rap categories that he's nominated in, I think that this year's nominees come down to a two-song race between Drake's God's Plan and Travis Scott's Sicko Mode featuring Drake. These were both #1 hits on Billboard's Hot 100. The next highest song on here hit number 21, and that was King's Dead by Kendrick, J-Rock, Future, James Blake. The last two winners of this award were also #1 hits, Kendrick's Humble and Drake's Hotline Bling. God's Plan and Sicko Mode were also by far the hottest songs out of these nominees, popularity-wise. I think that God's Plan deserves the win, and the only thing that could stop that would be that Sicko Mode dropped several months later and is still fresher in the public's mind, even though God's Plan is still in radio rotation and on playlists everywhere. The timing of Sicko Mode might have carried enough momentum to score the victory. Now, I'd like to give the voters, the Recording Academy, more respect than to think that they'd be lulled into forgetting just how big of a deal God's Plan was earlier this year. I think they're smarter than that. God's Plan was the #1 most consumed song of the entire year, in all genres, in totaling and combining streams and sales. So with that, I think that Drake's God's Plan will deservedly earn this year's Best Rap Song. Even though the composition and writing of Sicko Mode was creative and unorthodox, Sicko Mode also has a good chance at winning this year's Best Rap Performance Award, but God's Plan should really take Best Rap Song. So let me know your thoughts. What do you think of the nominees? And is there anybody who's not on there who you think should be on there? And are there any songs on there that you think are undeserving? Please leave your comments, like, and subscribe if you haven't. Until next time, next category, I'm Woog. Thanks for tuning in.